Good evening, everyone, and welcome to ESNLateNight, episode 57. As always, guys, I'm your host, Hype, and tonight I'm joined by Creeper. What's going on, Mike?
Not much, man. U.S. lost today, a little bit down, but figured we'd come live for just a little bit for you guys tonight.
That's awesome. So, really quick, guys, just a few updates before we go any farther. Um, Creeper's mic is going to be a little funky tonight. Um, Obviously, the weather is not so good over there in Columbus. So, yeah, it's going to be a little off tonight, so don't worry about that. As well as it's probably going to be a quick update show, anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. Not going to be a long one tonight. So, make sure you guys interact in the chat, and we'll talk to you guys as much as we can. Also, we are joined tonight by Saint, a former player from Rise. How you doing, Saint?
I mean, I've definitely had my better days. Today
Yeah,
hasn't been the best.
it happens. I know everyone feels bad for you. I mean, I've seen plenty of tweets about it. Obviously, we'll go into that a little bit later. But the past week, we've experienced so many roster changes, and a lot of people are confused still. So if we just go over that a little bit, talk about the patch notes, and we'll go from there. Everyone good?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. So what we're gonna do, guys, we're just gonna name down the rosters for the league right now. Talk about it really quick. If they're the same roster, we're not gonna go too in depth in anything. We'll just tell you who the players are and move on. Starting with Evil Geniuses, obviously it's the same roster of Aches, TP, Crimsix, and Karma. They won Anaheim. They came in third at X Games, and I think overall they're still the undisputed champion, in my opinion.
Hands down.
Yeah, it's really gonna take something big for them, in my opinion, to lose consistently. I I won't consider their win streak really broken until they lose two events in a row and two events where there's a big prize pull up on the line. Moving on to the next team for this league, we have Optic Gaming, and again they have the same roster of Scump, Nadeshot, Clayster, and Proofy. Obviously, this team played amazing. They won X Games, took second in Anaheim, and I'm looking forward for big things for them. They have the slaying power. Scump's been playing out of his mind last few events. Creeper, Saint, what do you guys have about that?
I mean, Optic's been looking really good. They had when they first made that roster, they didn't come out hot. At Niagara, they got eighth there, but then after that, they just been looking dominant. The team's really been clicking well, and they should definitely have a solid future ahead of them.
Yeah, those teams are definitely at the top of COD right now, and then everybody else is a step down below them.
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely on another level right now, and hopefully teams are able to catch up soon. Moving on to the next team is actually Team Curse, formerly Curse Black. It's the exact same roster of Burns, Mochilla, and Abel and Tipsy. Um, Obviously, this team played pretty good. I would say at Anaheim, they weren't able to attend X Games due to the amount of pro points they had. But yeah, they released Burns, and then out of back a few hours later, we went in that whole issue on our last show. Any comments about that team?
I mean, they placed fourth. That's an amazing placing. I'm glad they ended up picking Burns back up because they really had no reason to drop him, especially since, in my opinion, he probably played the best for them at that event.
Yeah, Burns really played well that whole event. He didn't carry his team, but he was definitely on top the whole time. And Burns is usually a really positive player, as far as his attitude goes. Creeper, you have
Yeah,
anything?
I'm like Saint said, them adding Burns back was necessary and it was needed. There was no reason to even drop him in the first place, so glad it's back together.
Yeah, I think everyone was. There a lot of people were upset in the first place about dropping him, or why he was dropped. Curious about it. And, there wasn't really any good reason for it. Moving on to the next team, the same exact roster again of Optic Nation. This team came out and they won the open bracket. They didn't have too hot of a performance at X Games, but it happens. And their roster is Killa, Embos, Miracles, and Ricky. As far as the next league goes, I see this team performing really well. I don't see them not being in the top 8 at the end of the season.
I agree with that. They've always done exceptionally well online, so I really can't see them placing at top 8. And when they played us at Anaheim, they were just really on point. Their respawn was 10 times better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, everybody expects Optic Nation to finish that top 8 and compete for that top spot. So if somehow they don't manage to get that top 8, it's going to definitely be a disappointment for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people would be disappointed, and I don't see them not getting top 8. A lot would have to happen for them not to, in my opinion. Um, Quick note: whoever posted that picture of me in the Twitter feed, I love it. That was awesome. Thank you for that. Moving on to the next team, we have Elevate White. with the roster of Chino, Gucci, Mad Cat, and Nifty. Obviously, this team did pretty good in the open bracket. They made it into the season 3 of the league. Mad Cat is moving to Alberta, Canada, I believe, so he is able to compete in the season 3 of the league. And this is the first big step to actually see a European player move over to North America so he can compete.
Yeah, kudos to them
for sure.
getting him out there.
I think we're going to start seeing this a lot more, too, in the future. A lot more players being willing to move over, and a lot more orgs willing to put them up somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where he's staying. I don't know if it's maybe at one of the owners' house.
I think it's
teammates'
Rogue's
house.
house.
Okay, yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I mean, I could see this happening a lot more, to be completely honest. Creeper, you think that could happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see Mad Cat competing over here in North America. He's always been regarded as one of the best European players, and now we'll get to see him consistently play against, the best players in the world.
Yeah, for sure. It's really going to be good to see them, in my opinion. So, moving on, we have Justice with Twiz, Doubt, Sin, and BL Fire. This team, they had, to be completely honest, there's no other way to say it, pretty bad run in season 2.
I mean, they started off terrible. They really started picking it up at the end of the season. I feel like they'll start out strong this time, especially since they're not making a roster change, which I really respect. And I can definitely see them break into the top 8 if they stay consistent.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they did pick it up really at the end of the season, which was good for them, and they actually had a good run going. But I don't know, if they start out bad again, then it might be a killer for them. Personally, I'd rather start out strong, kind of end a little bit shorter. But we'll just have to see with that team. I'm a little worried for how they're going to perform in season 3, especially with the caliber of teams coming. Obviously, we have Optic Nation, Elevate, them and Rise coming from the open bracket. Moving on to the next team. This is the first team we're going to cover that actually had a team change, and we'll talk about the team change and if we think they came out better or worse from it. So the original Envious squad from this past event was Merc, Parasite, Nameless, and Study. And right now, after dropping Parasite and Study, the roster is Merc, Nameless, Formal, and JCap. So let's talk about this, where they were before and where they are now. Do we think it's better for them, worse for them? And try to include the performances from this past weekend in the 2K if possible. Obviously, it's online, but still. I'll start off. Personally, I'm a little worried for how this team's going to work out. I think they have the potential to be a really good squad. Obviously, Formos played really well overall on the teams he's been on, and JCap is just a veteran player. But, he's been on Envious before. And I don't know. It's going to be rough for sure. I could see them working out, but I could also see them being not good of a team. It's going to be one or the other. I don't see them really being in the middle.
It's definitely 50-50 with that team because they dropped Study, who was, in my opinion, more of an objective-oriented type player, and they ended up picking up 2 heavy slayers with JCap and Formal. I mean, it's 50-50. It can go either way. They got a lot of potential, but they also have a lot of room to fail.
Yeah,
if
I
that
agree.
makes sense.
Oh, completely. That's what I was trying to say. It's they're either going to perform amazing with this new squad, or they're just not going to be able to hold up. And I think the whole goal with Envy this whole time was trying to find a team and build a roster that could beat EG or Complexity, and they always would come in second. The problem was they would match up against every other team but EG, and I think they kept trying to change to match them, and now they're changing it. I don't know if they're going to be able to match the other teams. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but on that real fast, it's their placings haven't been what they should have been, so they have to make a change if they want to be a top team now. So I mean, they had to go for it and see what happens.
That's true. You don't know if you don't try, I guess. So, as far as that change goes, I think that pretty much covers it. We spent a lot of time talking about this roster, on our last previous show, which was we had actually Hashed on to talk about it. If you guys want to check that out, you can watch it on youtube.com/esportsnation.tv. So moving on to the next roster, FaZe Black at the last event consisted of Censor, Saints, Dito, and Formal, and the new Team FaZe roster is Censor, Dito, Apathy, and Parasite. So with the addition of Apathy and Parasite, it kind of goes back to the team they had for U.S. Finals minus Parasite. Um, Apathy, Dito, and Sensor played together before. They have experience, and they played really good. And with the addition of Parasite, I think this team will definitely be a top 6 contender. Top 3, well, we'll just have to see. Saint, what do you think?
I mean, I actually think this team improved personally. With Apathy, he's definitely one of the top players in this game, and they definitely have a more well-rounded team, in my opinion. Every time Parasite's teamed with Dito and Apathy in the past, they've always had really good placings. He teamed with Apathy during Collapse and Black Ops 1, and they were extremely good. And Dito during most of MW3, and I'm not sure one else, but they were always dominant when they were together. I can definitely see his team working out really well.
Yeah, I think, like you said, this team could be really good. I think they definitely improved with that addition. Um, uh, it's going to be another rough one, especially with Parasite has always had issues on the teams he's been on. I'm not blaming on Parasite.
I
Um,
agree with that.
but almost every team he's been on, there's been some type of conflict with him and the other players, and it's just personalities sometimes don't mix. So we're gonna have to see what happens there. I do think that they could work out though. I mean, a lot of them. I know Dito and Parasite have teamed together before, so they might be able to deal with each other a little bit better now. So we'll see. This team definitely could be a top contender though. Definitely top 6, like I said, and maybe even top 4. I don't see them being the team to take out EG though, or even Optic for that matter. Moving on to the next squad, we do have Team Caliber. For Anaheim, the roster was Goonjar, Sharp, Neslo, and Apathy. And now the roster is Goonjar, Sharp, Theory, and Neslo. They went back to their original roster that they started TK with. And this roster, if they can get the chemistry back and mesh like they did in the past, I could see them being in another amazing team. They might have a top 3 team here again. The only issue is they do this all the time. They go back and forth. TK's placing has been very inconsistent since they made their first roster change, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to get that back or get back to being consistent. They keep going from being top 5, top 3 down to 12th, 16th. So until they can come back, I don't know. Do you think this could be the squad to bring them back?
I mean, I personally never agreed with them making that roster change in the first place after they got second for the first 2 events in this game, or I mean, they got second at the first event and made the roster change after that, and then they're finishing out Black Ops 2, placing second nearly every single event. I mean, it's gonna be hard going back to the same roster and rebuilding that chemistry after how they broke up in the first place. I mean, I don't think they're gonna be as dominant as they used to be personally.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be back to a second place team or maybe even third place team. But in my opinion, I think they might be in the same place as FaZe for me anyway. Um, I might be wrong. Obviously, it's just my opinion. Guys in the chat, what do you think about that roster? Do you think they can go back to being a top team, or do you think they're just going to be average? Let us know in the chat. We'll read through some of the answers before we move on to the next team. Just to give you guys an update about what other teams we have to go through. We have to go through the old FaZe Red team to talk about the situation that's going on. With that, we're going to talk about the Denial team, and we're going to talk about Rise Nation. And that's really where Saint's going to talk about the majority of what he has to say. In case you guys missed it today, he was released from his team. Yet again, I feel really bad for the guy because every season it seems like it happens.
Same shit, different day.
Pretty much. It's gonna be rough. So some people are saying yes, some people are saying they say there's a lot of chemistry, and there is a lot of chemistry there. I mean, they've played together for a long time. So yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see. A lot of them are saying they aren't as good at Ghosts as they were at Black Ops 2. And for the most part, I can agree with that one. Okay, so guys, I appreciate you guys interacting in the chat. We'll read some more off later in the next question. Moving on to the next team, let's hop in with the old FaZe Red squad. At Anaheim, the FaZe Red team was Theory, Classic, JCap, and Replays, and the team doesn't exist at all anymore. FaZe completely dropped the team, and Blevdog, the former manager of Curse, actually bought the spot. As of now, there's no official team name or brand, anything like that, but he did announce that Classic will be one of the players for his team. So at the time, there's 3 open spots left on that roster. Classic being the only member, like I said. I don't want to go too into much about who they could possibly pick up because it'll just end up a whole big thing and a problem, and I just don't really want to get into that one too much. We'll just wait and see what happens, who they announce, and we'll go from there. Moving on, Denial Esports is the next team we're going to cover. Denial Esports at MLG Anaheim had Zuma, Vexed, Legal, and Noxide, and the new roster for them is Zuma, Saints, Study, and Replays. My personal opinion on this team, I think they improved a lot. This group of players, in my opinion, is going to be one that the casters are going to love because everyone goes off about Zuma and Study. Replays is always a consistent player most of the time when I watch him anyway. And Saints is just Saints. He goes off a lot. So this team I feel has a lot of potential actually. They put it together a pretty good roster. And it was one of those deals where it was kind of just unwanted players who like weren't getting picked up by anyone and they came together. So I'm really excited to watch this team. Guys in the chat, let me know what you think about the new Denial squad of Zuma, Saints, Study, and Replays. And Saint, what do you think?
I mean, I think this team's actually going to be really, really good. It's a weird combination of players when you first think about it. But overall, every single one of those players has been extremely consistent all year. I definitely think they have potential to make a huge splash with that roster. If they get their teamwork down, that is.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely upgraded on the star power there. Coming into this event, Denial, looking at their roster, they had a couple decently, known players, but no offense to them, but nothing on the level of Study, Saints, or Replays. Bringing that over to Denial, and they're all great players. Like Saint said, if they get their teamwork and chemistry down, that'll be a team competing for, the top 3 spot, I feel.
Yeah, I completely agree. That roster has so much potential on it, especially. I'm really actually excited to see Zuma and Saints, Zuma and Study sniping, because both of them are obviously Study always gets those easy picks on S&D, and Zuma did really good this week. I'm a sniper, so I think that's really going to be a good one to watch for sure. So let's see what the chat had to say about the roster. Denial is definitely going to make season 3 interesting. And that was from Astral Designs. Denial's gonna be good, said Batman. Batman, I like it.
Yeah, I don't think you can find anybody who can say that roster has, went for the worse with the changes. There's no reason for that. That roster has improved so much, on paper. We'll have to see what happens when they actually start playing together, but, as of right now, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, just looking at the names and the players itself, that they have a lot of potential, but I'm just gonna have to wait and see how they play together. I believe they played this weekend in the 2K. I think Optic and EG or Optic EG. It was Nade, Scum, Aches, and Teep. They shut them down to eliminate them, but they still did really good from what I saw. And going to the last team, obviously the one Saints gonna want to talk about, Rise. At Anaheim, the roster was Saint, Looney, Wheats, and Pac-Man. And as of now, the roster is Looney, Wheats, and Pac-Man. Tonight, it was announced that Saint was released from the team. Obviously, guys, this has not been confirmed by MLG, so as of now, he's still on the roster for the league. And tomorrow, I would expect their MLG to make it official. Saint, do you want to talk about what happened? Give your side of the story, and we'll go from there.
I mean, basically, I just literally got a Skype today. It's like, hey, are you there? And I was like, yeah. And they invited me to a call and said, and basically, they want a West Coast player so they can host Fuck People in Season 3. And I literally just left the call after that. They said they wanted to attach specifically so they can have like a West Coast player who could host Fuck during Season 3. I really didn't have anything to say after that. I just left the Skype call because I was just really upset.
Well,
That's basically what happened. I mean, I really don't know why they dropped me. I think Looney never really liked me to begin with, so I think that was a big reason why. And they're gonna be playing the first 4 weeks of the season without him, so they're basically gonna be playing with 2 pickups for the first 4 weeks of the season.
Oh yeah, because of his hand issue. That's right.
Yeah.
What? Okay. So, wow. We really should ask what happened before we got in the call.
Probably
That's
should have,
funny.
but I mean,
Okay.
no. I mean, that's Saint said that. I mean, I saw somebody Bomber said that's not really what happened, but we'll leave that between you guys. We don't want to throw that out publicly, any more than what's already been done, I guess I should say. But so now you are, I guess, a free agent for season 3. Saw you tweeting at Bleb today. You're kind of stuck in a hard situation to where, if you go team with Bleb and that roster's there, that's fine. If not, you're gonna have to wait for the draft, I guess, to see.
Yeah, pretty much.
What happens. It's gonna be interesting. This whole draft situation has me lost, to be honest. But from my understanding, is it Blev? Blev has to, if he wants to pick up people, he has to pick up people who qualified for season 3, correct? Like before the draft, if he wants to pick them up, it has to be people who qualified, correct?
Yeah, they have like 5 days to do that, and then there's a 2-day period where whoever doesn't get picked up can just join whatever team they want freely. But basically, I'm the only person eligible since Legal, Vexed, and Noxite all opted out of the league.
True. I forgot them 3 left. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. And like you said, they have like 5 days roughly to do that. When is the draft? Off the top of your
July
head?
10th. Yeah, July 10th.
July 10th.
Yeah.
So a little over
the actual roster lock itself. Tomorrow is the last day for the free season. After tomorrow, they are not allowed to drop, or players aren't allowed to drop, or teams aren't allowed to drop players, and players aren't allowed to leave teams after tomorrow. Then it's only an ad period, from what I understand of it.
Well, this next week or so, guys, is going to be pretty interesting with everything. Most teams have their stuff set, but like what Saint said, Rise, can't play because somebody injured their hand, so they're going to have to draft somebody that can fill in for him. Blev's team. Gonna have to see what happens there, and then everybody else has their team pretty much set, so they'll just be picking substitutes for throughout the season. But it's definitely going to be an interesting week coming up here.
Yeah, I'm really curious what's gonna happen with the draft, because obviously there's a lot of talk going on about attach and what's gonna happen there, and there's a lot of teams have talked about picking up attach throughout the last few weeks, and obviously when you say which player you're going to pick up, it's kind of just asking for trouble. To be honest, I know Justice.
Yeah, it was that team just gonna draft him.
Yeah, I know Justice talked about it. When is Revan projected to get drafted? Oh man.
Revan, you're not getting drafted. They're gonna make a new spot for your team, and you're gonna build it.
Oh man. Oh, creeper. Okay, guys. So we are actually gonna have Looney on here in a bit to talk about.
I actually gotta head out. I got a wager match about to start right now. But thanks for having me on. I appreciate it again, as always.
Thanks for coming on, Saint.
No problem.
All right, guys. So what's gonna happen is we are gonna go to a quick break. When we do come back, we're gonna finish up this discussion, and hopefully Looney will join us to give their side of why Saint was removed from the team, or released from the team for that matter, and talk about what their plans are, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. As we said earlier, guys, it will be a shorter show than normal, and we'll go from there. So, guys, we'll be right back. Welcome back to ESN Late Night, guys. I'm Hype, and we are now joined by Looney from Rise. Looney, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Obviously, it's a pretty decent show, not bad. We're in a half hour right now. We're not going to keep it too much longer. But you want to come on and talk about your team, why the decision to drop Saint was made, and I'll let you talk from here. So go ahead, explain, and we'll jump in later.
All right, so Fear's at the up and left after Niagara or whatever, so it kind of put us in a tough spot since most teams were made and most teams were in the season. So our best option was Saint at the time. So we just went on and picked him up, see how it worked out. At first, he didn't really mesh well with us, and leading into Anaheim, I mean, I had hopes of placing top 4 to get in the league, and at Anaheim, he really did show up. He played his part. He did what he had to do to get us in the season, and we didn't have thoughts of dropping him. Well, actually, before Anaheim, we wanted to try to get Attach, but it didn't work out. Attach wanted to stick it out with Chris Orange, so we stuck it out with Saint. He did his part at Anaheim, and then we come back, and obviously I had my hand injury, so we didn't really have thoughts of dropping him. To be honest, we were gonna just keep it out, find a sub for me while I have to. Because I return most likely early August, so I will miss a couple league matches unless I get a different cast. And then I guess we just started having talks of dropping them, and then we were just like, when you have thoughts of dropping somebody, I think it kind of ruins the chemistry a little. So we just went through with it and released them. It wasn't because I hated them or something, and it wasn't because we want to host fuck in the league. That's not the reason why we dropped them. We just feel that going into Advanced Warfare, we want a roster we can trust and we want as an org. So we just went ahead and released them. I know. Trust me, we don't want to fuck them over for the season or whatever, because Bex did it last season. That's the last thing we wanted, and we kind of did it in hopes that we assure that he gets on a squad and he can prove that he deserves to play amongst the top teams.
Well, like you said, him coming into Anaheim and performing and getting not getting you guys, but you guys placing top 4 to get into that league spot. Why make the change if you guys just did so well at Anaheim? You said it was nothing personal, so I mean it's not he's butting heads with people, but why take the risk of dropping somebody that you guys just finished well with to pick up a player, or try to at least, that we know is good, but may not work out in the end?
I talked to Attach, and I'm really good friends with Attach, so I think what we will work out regardless. He's a young player. He'll probably listen to us a lot, and I think we'll mesh perfectly well. To be honest, our personalities. I hang out with them a lot at events. Like at Anaheim, I rarely hung out with Saint, and I love having teammates you can hang around with. And Attach is one of those players. So I think in and out of game we'll get along with Attach. And our play styles, we need someone that can slay with me. I think against Optic Nation in the finals of Open Bracket, we slacked Slain a lot, and we felt we can just, if we can grab Attach, or even if we don't get Attach, if we can find somebody else to pick up that can help me in Slain, we should be fine going into the season and UMG Dallas, and then further in the future going into Advanced Warfare.
So it's pretty obvious, and everybody already kind of knows who you're going for here. So it's not really a secret. So what is the process that you guys are trying to go through right now in trying to obtain him? Like, do you guys have to wait to a certain date, or do you have to draft him? Do you guys know what you have to do?
We just have to, as of now, I guess it's just hope Just and Elevate doesn't draft them. So we'll probably try to work out something with them. And if that doesn't work out, like I said, we can just draft somebody else and play. It's fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
so you said early August you're getting your cast removed completely?
Yeah. Early August, like literally probably like Gfinity time.
And Saint kind of informed us last time he was on the show. How did that actually happen? He told us you were like racing somebody and you fell or something.
Like, I don't know if you guys were at Anaheim, but in between the Marriott and the Hilton, there's kind of like a long strip of just like area, I guess. And I was just hanging around with my friends, and then I was like 4 people were lined up to race, right? So I was like, why are you guys lined up? They're like, oh, we're about to race. I was like, all right, I'll join. And then the guy that was like setting up the race, I guess, was like $40 each if you want to race. And I was like, really now? So then we raced. And I took off. My left knee was like hurting previously at that event from standing up so much. So it kind of like, it didn't give out, but I didn't take a proper step or whatever. And I just tripped on myself and landed on my hands. And I fractured a bone near my thumb. Yeah.
It's a hell of a way to go out.
Right? In a foot race.
It makes more sense now that there was money in the line. Now I understand the.
Yeah, I got frauded out the money though. They were frauds.
Well, it's
So
a good thing
you
it
won the
happened
race?
Sunday and not Saturday.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I would be dumb enough to even risk it Saturday, to be honest.
Yeah, but you don't go into a foot race thinking, I may hurt my hand. I'm not going to race this.
But
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think anyone would think they're gonna eat shit in a foot race.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, since you are on, if anybody in the chat has any questions, we'll throw a couple his ways. Nothing crazy, guys. We know how it can get. But
Yeah. Everyone probably thinks we're assholes for them. It's a terrible situation to be in.
nah, I mean it sucks on both parties. Don't get me wrong. It looks horrible. When people are looking at it from Saint's side, because this is the second time this has happened, and it's just kind of like,
Trust me,
wow.
that kept us like hesitant. I guess we're just like, I really don't want to screw him over. Really don't want to screw him over, but I guess you just have to do what it's better for you at the end. Oh, and for everyone saying I should have been dropped, I told them when I messed up my hand, I said you guys should go after a player as a starter instead of just trying to draft a sub. I told them to drop me, and they said no, we'll just stick it out with you. So.
Yeah, guys, and he said he'll be back probably right before Gfinity, early August. So, and it is Looney talking from Rise.
I know you answered this before, and you said you'll just go for other players, but someone asked, what will you guys do if you can't get attached or if he gets drafted beforehand?
Yeah, is there anybody else you're looking at?
Nah, we'll just we have, I guess, a couple options we can look at, but our priority or our main focus is to try to get attached.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully you'll be able to work something out with the people picking ahead of you guys to where you can get that roster.
Already saying that we have to pay millions.
Oh man.
I see why Just would do it, but it's funny how they make it look like they're looking out for him. But like, if you really, I know it's competition and stuff, but it's just funny to draft a player, because I was a sub for Just last season, and I probably played like 2 matches. One of them because like Sin went to like the emergency room, so it's not like they need a sub, but I mean, why not grab attach?
Yeah, you look at it. I mean, it's competition in the end. So if they do it, you see where they're coming from. But then again, it's something that's like, why would you do that? You just, you ruin his chances of getting on a team and actually competing to bench him.
Yeah.
But either way, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a rough one. It's just gonna depend if people are willing to work things out or not. And either way, I understand both sides of it. So we'll just have to wait and see. Looney, you have. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying July 10th, everything would unfold.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I just hope this draft's taken a little bit more seriously than the last one, with people like Boss Nasty getting drafted and things like that. You could tell a lot of teams weren't taking it too seriously.
Oh come on, best coach in the game.
The teams that were not taking it serious were teams that knew they didn't need
This is also true, yeah.
Except for that.
I'm pretty sure all of them played every single match.
Well, no, who was it? Karma was missing the one, and they tweeted to big timers, like, you better come on now, and they're playing Optic. That was the funny part of it, yeah. But they plan on picking Big T up again, I think.
I wouldn't doubt.
They just do that
things from
Aches is the character, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he probably has some things planned out.
But anyway, guys, the show's kind of coming to an end here. Looney, you have any shout-outs or anything else you want to say before we kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, shout out to my team and shout out to Rice Balmer, our manager, owner. You'll be seeing big things from us soon, hopefully.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Best of luck. Hopefully you guys can find a substitute for you to keep you guys up and ready for if you are going to Gfinity. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, guys. So with that, we're kind of gonna bring things to an end here. We recapped all the rosters. We had Saint and Loony come on and talk about their roster change, what happened there. And we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. We are gonna be announcing a new type of show within the next few weeks, hopefully. So look out for that. We do have some things going on with ESNLateNight as well that will be coming out soon. I'm just gonna say, guys, in the chat, you do want chances to come on and talk with us and give your opinion to everyone, you are going to want to subscribe. There are things in the works for you guys. So subscribing now might be a good thing for you guys to do. Again, you'll have a chance to come on and talk and some other things we're working on. Guys, this was ESN Late Night. You can follow me on Twitter at ESN Hype. Creeper, you can follow him at ESN Creeper. And you can follow our producer at ESN_Air on Doom. So with that, guys, have a good night.